The Mysterious Death of a Heartbreaker. I'm Rebecca Lieb.
I'm Jason Horton.
And this is Ghost Town.
So I just got back from New Orleans. Mm-hmm. Welcome back me, right?
Hey.
I welcome myself back.
We didn't miss you.
Yeah, well.
Go back.
Nope. I was there for a week, and I felt like I was there for 6 months.
Wow.
It's not a bad thing. It was a great city. Amazing
It's the opposite of what everyone says about New Orleans, though.
Yeah, well, I'm not a big drinker, so that's probably part of the problem. They do have a drink called the hand grenade.
Is it... What happens? Does it detonate in your body?
You don't live after. But yet you go have another one the next day, so it works out.
It's actually a 2-for-1 special.
You reset, I guess, like in a video game.
Okay.
But one of the things a few things I prepared for was to go where Johnny Thunders from the New York Dolls, from Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers, his solo stuff, where he was found dead. Now, there's a couple of different thoughts, ideas, theories of how he actually died. Point is, the day after he showed up in New Orleans in April 1991, the next day he was dead in his hotel room.
Wow.
And there's a lot of speculation of how that actually went down. So that's interesting.
That is interesting.
Because it hits the music spot.
Yeah. It tickles.
Yeah.
It scratches that itch.
It ticks that box. It hits the little bit of the true crime.
That's right.
And just the kind of weird. And so I went to St. Peter House, or in at St. Peter. They changed the name. I want to talk a little bit about that.
Awesome.
Super fun.
Ooh.
You know how, okay.
You did a lot. I saw on Instagram. You did a lot of things.
I did a lot. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about that. And then I'm going to hit some other fun things.
That sounds amazing.
I'm just going to bring you up to speed.
I'm going to buckle up.
Yeah, it's going to be, I feel like some of these things, I feel like there's things we could do, they're like become anthology episodes almost, where it's, it's New Orleans and then.
Oh, New Orleans, I mean, there's so much.
So much.
I haven't even been, but when I was working for Atlas Obscura, they have, so many things happening in New Orleans. So many oddities, so many strange death sites, history, Santeria, just tragedy. Like so much is there.
Yeah, it's pretty filled.
And yet you wanted to leave.
Yeah, after about a week, I did want to leave. I literally was just like, I don't know. Maybe I live here and I'm going to visit Los Angeles. I don't know anymore.
Oh my God, sliding door.
But maybe the voodoo took over.
Time is a flat circle.
Yeah, all the crawfish made me forget where I came from. All the crawfish.
It was just like tiny, harder to get into lobster.
It took me like 15 minutes to eat 3.
An exoskeleton. Yeah,
yeah.
Exactly.
Well, everyone else was eating it
I have 40 of these and I'm trying to get the meat out of the tiny tail of this dollhouse lobster.
Yeah, you have to there's like a break and a suck.
Yeah, exactly.
People were trying to show me
like a tiny mouthful though.
And I was like, is there pizza? And they're just like, get out of here.
Well, yeah, they're like, please. And don't take a beignet on the way out.
Yeah. Oh, I had beignets.
Yeah.
That I did not skip on.
No. You were like,
beignet.
beignet.
But to me, they're like, like a fried dough or a zeppoli or depending on where you come from. But I know they're different. It was, I think it was like the original Cafe Du Monde, I think was like that's the OG place to go. And it was, I don't even really drink coffee and I had a coffee.
Yeah. How's the coffee?
Were
you wired?
I OD'd.
Yeah, your heart exploded?
I overdosed on the coffee.
Whoa.
So, okay. It's usually if there's a good cop, bad cop on this podcast, you would say you're the bad cop, right?
Me?
I would say, well, you don't think you are?
I'm the bad cop.
What have you done that makes you the good cop?
I'm pretty well natured. I feel like you're always like down to business and I'm always like, let's have fun.
No, but you're
I'm the bad cop.
Yeah, you're the bad cop.
What? I'm not even a cop.
You're the loose cannon.
I'm the loose cannon.
All right.
That seems more apt.
Okay.
Because
there's good cop. What is there? Loose cannon, tight cannon.
Like you're the. I don't know. I feel like you are more the enforcer,
right?
And I am more like the what? We doing this?
Yeah.
Should I not yawn?
Yeah. And do yawn anyway.
Exactly.
Well, I'm gonna go loose cannon mode.
Okay.
You're gonna have to rein me in.
Uh-oh.
Because we are taking an absolute beating on our iTunes / Apple Podcast reviews.
This isn't good.
And for starters, I always appreciate, I think we appreciate anyone taking your time to do that for better or for worse. Because
Absolutely.
it does take time, and you obviously for some reason care enough or you're mad enough to comment. Appreciate
Excited
it's
to take action.
It's appreciated.
Yeah.
Like feedback is always appreciated, and it's not. I don't think any of them are coming from. I don't think from a personal place, which is good. I don't think
unless
it's coming
when
from,
they say that they hate my body or my voice.
Yeah. Well, that I wouldn't.
I take a little personally.
But that's not taking a beating because that doesn't affect me.
Okay, you heard it, everybody.
Yeah, they're assuming I'm hot.
That's from the bad cop of this episode.
Yeah. So here's what I kind of want to put out there is I feel like when people are coming to Ghost Town, they are not getting the podcast they're expecting.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's unfair for them because you come in with expectations.
Well, you're also a comedy podcast, right?
Yes.
What are people saying? Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah.
But what are people saying?
So I think a lot of what it is a couple of things. They don't like the personal aspect, which is what this is right now.
Yes,
so what we're doing
is.
right
you don't
now,
like my dating history.
Yeah, they are not into that.
Okay.
Which I understand, but I listen to very few podcasts, and the podcast I listen to, the reason I listen to them is information can be received in many different places.
Yeah,
we are not the authority. Many people do it better. Many people are better represent information.
Agreed.
We do not do that. We're not journalists,
historians.
We are just people that are into this stuff.
Yeah, and we're barely making it on our own as just normal humans.
Yes. So, but I think why I like to do this is I like to put a personal aspect, a little bit of personal life. I understand, like you don't want to hear about our whole lives.
No, but if it were up to me, it'd be most of my life.
I know. So you're lucky. You be getting 30
Jason
seconds.
has tempered me a lot.
Yeah, you'd be getting 30 seconds of content.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's when there's some comments where people I don't think they want to hear the relation. Like there's one was just kind of like, I don't care what happened in the 80s and 90s, and I'm like,
sorry,
but that's a lot of that is directly related to what we're discussing in the episode and how our interaction with it and how we feel about it. Where there's a lot of really great podcasts, but a lot of them are coming from a clinical place.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
Great.
We're not coming
Useful.
from a clinical place.
No.
We're coming, I went to this place, or you went to that place, or I just got back from this place. And for me, when somebody tells me a story and they're like, I'm going to tell you something that happened to somebody else, I'm like, that's interesting. When they say, I'm going to tell you something that happened to me, is more interesting.
Absolutely.
And
what else do we have without our personalities and our personal stories on this podcast? I would say not much.
Not much. And I understand some people like really just want like hard facts, but I was like, you can go to Wikipedia and do that.
Yeah.
And it'll take you less time.
Exactly.
So I just think it's been a lot of episodes, but I feel like this, and we're always looking to improve.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
We do this on our own. We take a hit with financially on it.
Sure. We don't have a ton of resources as much as we would like.
Yes, but it comes from a place of that it's coming from a very authentic place.
Yeah,
it's coming from a lot of times, not every single time. Sometimes it's just a genuine interest or like like an oddity that we want to kind of get into. But a lot of times there is something very personal, and I feel like that's something we bring where there's other people that do. I don't want you you're listing 10 podcasts that also do that, and they do a great job. But I feel like the only people doing that podcast the way we do it is us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for better or for worse. No one else is doing it because literally we're the only ones here doing it.
We're doing it, and also like I think a lot of what people like about us is a lot of what people hate about us, and there's nothing that's going to change that.
That we're hot.
Like my Uber rating. Yeah, exactly. My Uber rating is low, you guys.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Her Uber rating is very Uber So I think when I talked about getting reviews, this is really hitting you close to home.
This is really hitting me. My Uber review rating was, what did I say it was? 4.33, I believe. How is that possible? I'm a pretty nice person. I haven't thrown up in any Ubers. I feel like I'm pretty genial.
I mean, have you turned down the dates though? The guys are like, we should go out sometime, and you're like, no, it's okay.
No, I wish someone. I wish an Uber driver.
Yeah,
that's where I'm like, maybe our ratings are from guys that I've talked about this podcast, which is every date I go on, I talk about this podcast.
Maybe that's
maybe my own personal life is what's biting me in the ass.
Yeah.
Us in the ass.
Mine's a 4.89.
Okay, relax.
But I'm pretty. I don't know. I'm good at it.
I'm a loose cannon.
I'm good at sitting there.
Oh, weird. I'm also good at sitting there. What am I doing wrong? So if you have any feedback on what should be doing to get my rating up, more tip, smelling better, not staring at my phone when we go back to my apartment.
You should offer the driver a phone cord to charge his or her or their phone.
Charge, but like, where would I plug it in?
Well, get creative. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's not his problem. It's not your problem.
Yeah,
it's not anyone's problem but you.
Yes.
Take ownership.
Yes.
Fine. Well, this is hard to process.
Yes.
I wish we had better reviews, but we are who we are. I think.
And we are. We have our very first live show tomorrow.
That's right. It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Just real quick.
I'm so nervous.
Dynasty Typewriter, 10 p.m. DynastyTypewriter.com.
Mm-hmm.
But we will have the episode up in the next week or two for you to listen to it anyway, so you won't be missing it.
It's gonna be so great. It's gonna be us, our voices, and then hopefully clapping and laughter.
Yeah. Or we'll just edit that in there.
Or booze.
Yeah. I'll listen, if somebody booze.
What if my dad boos? My dad is coming to the live show.
Oh, okay. Will
That
he
would be
boo?
bad.
Your mom's not coming?
No.
Because your mom's been famous in an episode. That's what I'm saying. That's a celebrity guest.
I think she would love to, but she's always like, I'll come out to. My dad's always out here for work. He's always like, meet me in Century City. I'm here for 40
Century
hours.
City.
I know. It's always like a schlep.
Then do you reevaluate your relationship when you're like, how close am I with this guy anyway? Century City?
Who is this guy?
Yeah, I mean,
do I
we're
even
not
know him?
Yeah, for Century City.
Like,
but if he's like, Larchmont, you're like, all right, we're cool. We're
if he's
tied.
like Silver Lake, I'm like, yeah, I'm already there.
Yeah.
In the Sawyer happy hour.
Yeah,
it's
so-
all happening.
Kind of to get into New Orleans a little bit, because I'm going to talk a little bit New Orleans before after I talk about. But speaking of Ubers, I took a lot of Ubers. I always end up sitting in the front.
Why?
Just because I offered to sit in the front, because there was always like four of us kind of rolling around. So I just offered to sit in the front. And the
So
night,
antagonistic of me. Like, why?
Yeah.
What? Answer me.
Are you questioning the guy with the 4.89?
Oh,
Is that the one?
God, I'm never going to hear the end of this
Nope.
till the day I die.
Nope.
How do I get my ratings up, everybody? What did I do? If you're an Uber driver who's driven me around anywhere, around Echo Park, anywhere, just let me know.
Yeah.
Just let me know.
Yeah. All right.
It's like
Do you
getting
bring weird
ghosted.
food in the car with you? Like
Weird food? No.
all
what?
right. I don't know.
What weird food? Like a candy bar? Like a fish plate?
I think like a fig Newton, like a weird fig Newton. Yeah, that's lowering it
not
right
good?
there.
Oh, God.
No, eating a fig Newton like a rabbit is pretty bad.
Lip smacking.
Oh, it's the worst.
I don't know what's happened.
Do you leave crumbs?
Do you think someone's just steal my phone and use my Uber account?
No. If anything, that would make it go up. But the Uber driver is very nice. Everyone in New Orleans is extremely nice. I found it's a really, really great city, really nice. But you know how like when we take Ubers around here, they usually have their phone like on the dash, so they're looking at it. What I've noticed is most Uber drivers, they have the phone in their lap, and the only person looking at the road is me. There's four people in the car, and I'm the only one looking at the road. I'm like, I guess this is their heads are down in there, and they're not texting. They're looking at directions.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's very terrifying.
That's what I did. When I was a tour guide, I would have my phone because you don't want to be like, I don't know where I'm going, so it would just be down at my lap.
Yeah. But
it's
when your
dangerous.
head is, it's very dangerous.
Dangerous, but
looking cool is more important.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want your phone out. Like, who's texting you?
Yeah,
who's
you
with
loser.
notifications? My Bumble notifications. It's embarrassing. No, put it in your lap. You'll die, but you'll die with dignity.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna take us back to New Orleans.
Awesome.
And you know what kind of got me wanting to do even more music is I was working on something and I overheard another guy. He's got a podcast called All Time Top Tens. A lot of music. Check it out.
Cool.
Yeah, it's I think he might be local too. So I'm gonna have to see if we can do some cross promo. But yeah,
sounds
I believe it's
nice.
All Time Top Tens. A lot of music. But he was talking about Disgraceland podcast, which. Jake Brennan is also from the hardcore scene that I'm a part of, like me, New York, and him, like Boston. But I mean, Disgraceland is huge. It's amazing. Does a really good job. Really great narrative. And so just then we guys started talking about that, and I was like, wanting to do more music. So finding that's pretty easy. And so I went to New Orleans, and like I mean, Johnny Thunders and, talk about the New York Dolls and, which is like a band where it was like they were the first ones to get pretty big, like dressing like gender bending, dressing like women, but also being very masculine about it. Which and then just that kind of New York punk scene and that kind of little heroin chic type thing going on, and like the Ramones and like all those bands and television and stuff like that. But when people like end up in New Orleans, also Alex Chilton from Big Star, which
great
documentary. Big Star documentary is great. Yeah,
so good.
He lived up the road from where we were staying.
That's amazing.
I don't think he died there. I think he went back to Nashville. I'm not really sure, but he also lived in.
If you're gonna die, go back to Nashville.
I think it might be Tennessee. I'm not. I have to look that back. I would have to look that up. I don't want somebody to be listening to be like a huge Big Star fan and being like, "That's wrong."
You don't want to get into the bad graces of a Big Star fan.
You really don't. A close friend of mine, John, is his favorite band, and he probably would. Do that,
people love it.
Yeah. So he just to give a little extra music context. But he died in the St. Peter Hotel, and there was somebody staying in that room 37, which is where he died.
Yeah.
They were kind of weird about letting me even go in and take a picture in front of the door, which totally makes sense.
Yeah.
But there's a picture. I think it's on my. Probably on Ghost Town Pod and the Jason Horton, both Instagrams. You can see it there. I took a picture. It's just me in front of it. It's not really that. It's not like really spooky.
No, but
I think it might hear these really conflicting story. And I know people on the iTunes don't like us to talk about the 80s or 90s, even though this is when this happens.
Yeah, they're like, don't use your voice. Get out of the room that this is being recorded. Go down the street. Jump off a bridge. Then we'll give you 4 stars.
Yeah.
We'll see what's next.
Yeah. So if you want to help us out and find something positive about us, let us know on Apple Podcasts. Give us a not even a nice review, an okay review.
We respond pretty well to positive reinforcement, even though our go-to is negative reinforcement.
Exactly.
With ourselves and others.
We have to lean on you a little bit.
Please.
To lift us up.
Asking for help?
Yeah, it's the first step.
We haven't even mentioned Patreon yet.
Oh, so that's a lot of the bad. Wow, more bad reviews. I mean, people like they constantly listen. I understand. The Patreon thing, I get it, because even though people say we spend 50% of the time, it's usually like 40 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. 40 seconds of like a 30-minute podcast. Yeah, everyone relax.
But it is patreon.com/ghosttownpod. 2 bonus episodes a month. It really helps us out, and that's all we're going to say about that. And then we're going to get back to...
the content.
The content. Yeah, the content.
I resisted the impulse to talk about dating for a second, too.
Yeah.
But... into it.
Speaking of taking beatings, we're all taking beatings.
We're all fucking in the trenches, on the front lines, bleeding out.
Yeah.
Well, but I'll talk about that on our next one, because I also think that people kind of like that. When I listen to podcasts, I'm like, are you still like, it's like a continued narrative along with the content.
Well, that's why when I listen to Mark Maron, I really do follow his like diary almost of how he's
hate him.
Okay. We'll talk about that. And here's the thing is, I'm not going to fight you on that.
No, it's
only because
I like a lot of his interviews. I just the monologues for me. They're really hard.
Yeah, that's I'm it's not one of those things where I'm like, oh, you don't like the Beatles. It's I understand.
Yeah,
I absolutely. I get it.
But that's the same thing. I mean, I listened to this podcast that I guested on called V Single. Yeah. That is very people like it and don't like it. It's all about dating, which was my jam. But they go into their personal lives for the first 20 minutes, I would say.
And I find that you get invested in, and I like getting invested in people.
It's like vlogs.
Yeah.
They're so successful, or I don't know, internet?
Are you
Wi-Fi?
Are you wearing a wire? You're like, all these vlogs, these kids are AFing vlogs everywhere.
These GIFs all over the place.
I mean, they got a PDF stuck in their pocket. Well, we're almost kind of at the, I don't know, was it the 28-year mark? But on the night of April 22nd, 1991, Johnny Thunders checked into the St. Peter guest house, or in at St. Peter's. It's on St. Peter and Burgundy in New Orleans, and he was dead. Should we do a little breaky break? What do you think?
He's dead. Let's keep going.
You want to keep going? No time for break? You want to get ready more?
I want to do more. I'll signal you.
You'll signal for the break. Okay. I don't know if you wanted a break.
I'll whisper my Uber rating at the break, and then that's when you know to turn this shit off.
And I'm like, that number's so low. I don't even know what it could possibly mean.
And your brain will shut down, and then we'll be back.
So how he was a drug addict. Okay, he was
Plain and simple. What was his drug? I mean, heroin, right?
yeah. I mean, he was probably probably all of you know what I mean, all of them.
Yeah,
He had a drug problem. Like Dee Dee Ramone, the Ramones, who like was arguably wrote a lot of their really good songs. He was really big problem with drugs. A lot of
Buried
people
in
did.
Hollywood Forever. P.S.
Yeah.
So
Was Dee Dee?
yeah.
Or are you talking about is it? I know Johnny is
Yeah.
statue, but Dee Dee is as well.
Yes.
Ooh.
So come to our live show. Anyway, keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah. So the desk clerk on duty, he told reporters that he was when he kind of before he went to his room 37, he was sweating and looked real white like a geisha girl.
Weird comparison.
Yeah.
Like a geisha girl? That would not fly nowadays.
Well, this is 19.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't
91,
say
right?
what happened. I can't say what maybe the climate was of crime and safety and the opinion. I mean, I can't comment on the police force and when I think back like in 1991. I mean, obviously there's just because it's 2019, that doesn't mean there aren't issues and problems that can run rampant. But I feel like crime in the 70s, 80s, early 90s. It's just a different.
Yeah.
There's no internet. I don't know if that changes things.
Well, 91, when you said 91, I was like, oh, that's when Jeffrey Dahmer got caught.
Yeah.
So I think about when they released him, like when he essentially, a teenager escaped from his apartment. I think he was 19. So an older teenager with a hole in the back of his head. And the police were like, oh, like fight with your gay lover.
Yeah.
Get back in there.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
Yeah.
Different culture.
Yeah. So that's why I take that in consideration. But he was found the next afternoon, curled up like almost like in a U shape on his floor, like not fetal. And I'm speculating, but not fetal, but curled in like almost like a U. And to be even, there was an account where somebody says he was taken out in the body bag in that same shape.
Well,
so
the
the body bag,
rigor mortis, like it had set in.
it was just and he's probably like a pretty frail dude, but he was also found again different. I'm looking through different accounts, different people saying different stuff. I believe there's probably elements of all the things are happening, but he was also supposedly found beaten and robbed.
Wow.
And when I think of New Orleans, and I didn't know much about it, and crime was definitely any city. You know what I mean? I'm not like like I said, New Orleans is an amazing city. I'll talk about a little bit more after, a little other nuanced stuff. But I imagine maybe then the initiatives might be less to either and take crimes seriously if they're like, oh, it's just another junkie, another like ex rock star junkie.
Yeah.
We don't, because even MTV, like when Kurt Cobain died, I mean, obviously Kurt Cobain was a huge, iconic, whatever, but things get elevated.
Yeah.
People like Johnny Thunders, who would probably arguably became more famous after, like New York Dolls became or more famous, after they were way after they were done.
Absolutely.
You can say the same for like the Stooges. I mean, Ramones, were always kind of like, one of those bands that were, I feel like always for the most part, but everyone after it's over always gets a little more. They finally get their due.
Yeah.
So in the room there was methadone, cocaine.
Yeah.
And so his tour manager said the autopsy had no trace of methadone. There was also accounts that there wasn't enough drugs. There wasn't an overdose amount of drugs in his system. Because I think he was trying to get clean. Maybe that's part of the purpose of going to New Orleans.
Everyone goes to New Orleans to get clean.
I mean, I don't know what leaving in New York City or L.A.
Like a place away. Again, I think it would not be my first choice to go to get clean, considering the party culture, especially probably in that time period. But again, leaving New York, great job.
Familiar, the familiar triggers maybe. Might be and maybe just like, listen, I want to hear some really great music. I don't know enough people here.
Beignet.
I want to go to Cafe
Fry
Du Monde.
open crawfish. Beads. I want to get some beads.
Gotta get some beads. Gotta get your hands on beads. And one of those hand grenades.
You gotta get one. All right, let's take a little break now.
Okay.
That seems good.
So then there's he claimed the his tour manager said the room looked like it was wrecked, like as if there was a tussle going down. His money, his passport were missing, and
Highest form of ID.
Yeah, and there was a lot of criticism that the New Orleans police really didn't take it all, that they really like eyeballed it and was like, this looks like, and that's not totally unfair because that's like a very viable thing. You know what I mean? If anyone eyeballed it, he's like, well, it's probably one of these 2 or 3 things. That's definitely one of them. Okay, Willie DeVille, who was
Slick Willie.
yeah, he's a cool
style.
musician. He died in 2009, but like he contributed to a lot of music, and he was pretty iconic. He was staying, I think, in the next. I mean, there's so many like homes and buildings and units all stacked next to each other, so it's hard to like. It looks like, I was like, there could be. You go down like a block and it could be 17 doors. You go to another block and it's 8 doors. It's just like, but very close to St. Peter. And he said that one of the people, the staffs at St. Peter, told him that Thunders had gone across the street to a club called the Pound Sterling, where where he encountered 2 drug dealers who gave him LSD.
Okay.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Right. LSD, I didn't realize was was a cheaper drug than a lot of the other drugs too.
Like a bargain.
Yeah. Like I think someone told me like they paid like $10 for LSD. I was like, $10 for LSD? The market is down.
Yeah.
Get your LSD now.
In this economy? Willie DeVille, he thought that maybe that Thunder was taking the methadone to come down off the LSD, which I didn't know. I'm not an expert. I didn't know methadone was kind of a catch-all.
I thought it was for heroin. Yeah,
me too. I don't know if it was like a catch-all drug or whatever, but and then maybe he took too much, and he says DeVille helped clean Thunder's room at the guest house, saying he found 2 boxes of methadone among his things, and he says there was enough methadone to kill the entire French Quarter. So there was a lot of
How do you
methadone.
get that much methadone? Also, I don't even know what methadone. I thought it was like a liquid. Or I don't know if it's a powder, a patch,
like
a smoking patch.
ibuprofen mixed with Monster Energy drink. Lethal.
You shut your mouth. That's
lethal.
That's who can handle that?
Not a human. Maybe a rhino.
Whoa. A pack of rhinos.
A pack of rhinos.
No rhino young.
Dee Dee Ramone, who's another pretty tragic.
Iconic.
Yeah, super iconic, really tragic figure, but like the one who was like, I feel like in the Ramones, like, was in a way kind of the heart, even though he wasn't in it the whole time. He was the one kind of like wrote all really good songs and real bad boy.
Yeah,
real bad boy. So he was playing with Thunders and time, and he said they were putting together like a band, and then he was like, I guess he called the day after Thunders was found dead. Somebody claimed to Dee that Thunders had been killed by men who ripped him off for his methadone supply. Oof. Very feasible.
Yeah.
All these things we're discussing, very, very feasible.
Absolutely.
It could be a combo of all of them. Thunder's sister says that the autopsy found evidence of advanced leukemia.
What?
Yes.
Turn.
Yes. So, and he said that he knew about the leukemia, but told almost no one because, he's probably like, he probably just like, who wants to be like known as that? Especially when you have other issues and you're already kind of, not on the outs, but because he was always, he was making movies and his solo stuff was doing pretty well. And plus the early 1990s for 70s, like the 70s CBGBs or like the early glam and rock and roll, it wasn't the best time.
Yeah.
You had grunge and Nirvana and pop music and whatever. The 80s are over. People are still getting over that, but Jerry Nolan, who was drummer of New York Dolls, said at the time he tried to get Thunders to go to a doctor, but Thunders had a medical phobia and refused to go into the hospital. So,
oh God,
there's
so many. This is like like a maelstrom. It's the perfect storm of horrible shit to happen to a person.
You got to imagine having a drummer of a band you're in that probably has his own problems.
Yeah.
Saying, yo.
I would say many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you need to go to a doctor.
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, can't do it.
Yeah. That's a lot. It says a lot. It's a real statement. And then death.
Yeah.
And then we don't know. Yeah, pick a thing.
Yeah.
Pick a cause of death.
Yeah, there's a couple of theories, but a couple other things. I guess Johnny had a number of silk suits custom made in Thailand before arriving in New Orleans. Yeah. They were stolen as well. So there's a lot stolen.
That's good because like you would sweat way hard into those silk suits in New Orleans in a summer day.
We can't say that just because things were stolen, there's a correlation between the people that stole things were instrumental in Johnny Thunder's death.
I feel like we're going to solve this murder mystery on this podcast.
Oh, I think we will. Yeah. I think as it's going along.
But this is why it's so, I love, like, things like this are so tragic and intriguing. You're just like, what are all the pieces? Like, what could have possibly happened?
Yeah. Now, we talked about Willie DeVille. Mm-hmm. He actually made up a story about Johnny Thunders in order to kind of give a positive spin on what happened. So he said...
PR, baby.
Yeah, he says that he made up a story of Johnny Thunders dying with his guitar in his hands and a bunch of international money around him.
International monies.
Yeah, just kind of laying there, like dying with your guitar in your hand and just like money from around the world. Like, which everywhere. Is a lot better than curled up under a table.
Yeah, with like enough methadone to kill New Orleans.
Yeah. There's people that he died from some shady people that sold him a bunch of hot shots. I don't know what
hot shot.
I don't know. I have a feeling some kind of speedball of
not
two things.
Like an otter pop?
No, mixed with ibuprofen. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. No. So he just hung out with a lot of. I mean, you're probably when you get there, and it's a lot of. There's going to be a lot of shady people.
Yeah.
And they all. You're there, and you probably have some cash, and you have some addictions, and you're at the kind of whims of
you're dabbling
of drug dealers. Yeah.
And I don't know how far down the rabbit hole you can get. Yeah. I think one thing leads to another. You're like, oh, I'm just trying to get sober, but I'll have a little bit tonight, whatever. And then one thing leads to another. Things are stolen. Things are happening. Who knows? And you're dead.
Yeah. It was also during the middle of Jazz Fest, which I assume is always happening.
Yeah, isn't that? People go to New Orleans for Jazz Fest, and I'm like, isn't that just the stasis of the city?
No, we were there. It was like the French. There was a French Quarter Fest. It wasn't Mardi Gras. It was a Jazz Fest. Yeah. I mean, there's jazz just coming out of.
Is there a French horn coming down every corner? Like beads and confetti. People in the masks.
There's another thing. Dee Dee Ramone took a call about it. He said that I don't know who they is. They told me Johnny had gotten mixed up with some bastards who ripped him off for his methadone supply. They had given him LSD, then they murdered him, and they got a pretty large supply. He got a really large supply of methadone in England, which I think he came from England.
Can you take methadone on through security? I guess you can.
Pre 9/11.
Yeah, pre 9/11, you can take whatever you want. There's pineapples.
I mean, a pack of cigarettes can fly an airplane.
That's true. But don't you dare bring a thimble full of water.
Oh, do not.
You are being arrested.
If your phone's not on airplane mode, forget it. You're in big trouble.
I text while we're in the air.
Yeah.
They don't care. My brother works in aviation, and he's like, it's just a precaution.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's...
So I take that. That's why
I play by the rules, though.
Yeah. That's why I'm the bad cop.
Well, that's why you have the...
loose cannon.
You have the Uber rating.
That's right. God, bad girl alert.
I mean, that show Bad Girls Club. Remember that show Bad Girls Club?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like Bad Girls Club, please. Yeah. Rebecca leaves in town. Pew, pew.
Oh, I will not get an Uber with her. Forget it. It's going to ruin my reputation.
I know. You don't want to be associated with me.
But New Orleans was great. It's there's just... I love historical things that are designated like historical, the historical register. Pretty much every other building is.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I also, we were outside, a bunch of us, and there's like a building that's, it almost looks like it's like separate and like kind of jammed in there. And it almost looks like a point, almost like it almost comes to a point. Mm-hmm. And, one of us was like, oh, I want, that building's interesting. This woman walked by. She's like, that was the slave quarters.
What? Whoa.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, yeah, I'm a tour guide or whatever, which there's tour guides.
Yeah.
I got picked up on so many different, I was ended up just walking. I'm like, am I in a tour right now? Because they're just constantly happening. But I
Sounds
felt
like
like
my city.
I feel like she.
You got a text?
What? I had a couple.
Oh,
I know.
okay. Not me.
Nope. That she like waits to overhear people ask what building that is and likes to jump out and be like, slave quarters.
I feel like I should live there.
It's there's. I mean, the music's great. The people are really nice, and I'm kind of dialing this really down and making it very basic. But it seems like at least in the French Quarter, it's a lot of either tourists or homeless.
Wow. Okay.
And again, that's an oversimplification. But a amazing city, like super, very clean. Like everything's like pretty well. It's just, I mean, every building is somewhat different. The colors, it's really great to look at. There's a lot of, they don't want you climbing on anything. So like, there's like spikes and like literally broken shards of glass as precautions, so people do not climb over those things. It really
gives a message.
Yeah,
shards of glass inside of a building. Don't climb this.
I went to a stand-up show. I saw this comedian Jason Horton, and he was dying.
You were out of body.
I was
watching your own fucking jokes about your body image.
It was so good. No, I did a stand-up show. That was fun.
Yeah.
Everyone was really nice. There was people there.
That sounds great.
Yes, that was nice.
Did they give you beads? Did they throw beads at you? Did you have a shirt?
No, but they were actually not on their phones and looking and laughing.
That's amazing.
I'll take that over the beads.
Are you kidding me? If there's one person who's not looking on their phone during my show, I'm like, I am a god.
Yeah, and also, what's wrong with you? Don't look at me. That's too much pressure.
I know. See, that's where it turns in our head.
Yeah.
Ideologically, we're like, attention for me. I love it. I mean, I'm bad.
Yeah. I hate myself.
Exactly. My mom should listen to this episode because she hates New Orleans. She went there once on spring break with her college girlfriends, and like cops were like chasing them and like trying to get into their hotel room. Corrupt New Orleans cops.
I mean, that's from what that
was before the 1991,
but yeah, I mean,
she was like, never, disgusting, hate it.
I imagine it's probably, there's probably
dangerous.
I don't know, and Hurricane Katrina, which I'm obsessed with disasters sometimes, and I didn't go to the Ninth Ward, but what was sometimes you go on vacation or you go someplace and you really don't commingle with locals. You're just with the people you're with, and you see things. Yeah. Maybe it's a tour guide, but we were at a wedding, so we, Michelle's friends when got married. She's from New Orleans, so I got to talk to a lot of people about Hurricane Katrina, various other things, and like the Ninth Ward, and I just saw so many buildings, even in around the French Quarter, and I'd be like, oh, what happened with this building? It's like after Hurricane Katrina, even though the Ninth Ward is the one that was like in a bowl, almost a filled bowl of water.
God.
We talked about abandoned Jazzland on here.
Yeah.
It was pretty far, and I don't know how much there was to see, so it was hard for me to get to.
Yeah.
Because if I could get to it, even if it was like literally one pole sticking out of the ground, I would have gone.
Yeah.
But it's just a lot of logistics. But after Hurricane Katrina, even if it's a tall building, but it's under like 5 feet of water, which is low, considering it. And things get ruined, and the pipes and electricity are also really old, so it's hard to really renovate. So there's just a lot of abandoned places and abandoned buildings mixed in with other, just some either economy or post Hurricane Katrina, hard to survive. But I was extremely positive in the sense that these like abandoned boarded buildings looked like they were getting ready to kind of come back to life. Wow. Whereas sometimes you see something, you're like, this is
done for.
This is it.
Yeah.
I felt a sense of optimism where things were going to come back to life. And it's great. I mean, there's just like a ton of music, ton of people. Everyone's really nice, ton of art and culture, and people like doing metallurgy or whatever they're doing, like making
metallurgy.
Art.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, right? It was like super cool.
That's amazing.
And then I saw this LaLaurie Mansion. It's supposedly very, very haunted. A pretty gruesome tale. Then we'll get into another episode.
Maybe we'll get into it. Maybe I'll go visit.
Maybe. But you know who owned it from 2007 2009? Now tell me if this makes it more or less crazy.
Oh, I think I know what you're going to say.
Who?
What's his name from American Treasure?
I think so.
Or Raising Arizona?
Yeah.
Oh God.
That's you're right.
I know.
You can't think of his name?
God, I just like it's
Nah. Nick.
Nick. God.
Nick. Olis.
Nicolas
Cage.
Cage. Yes. That's crying. Did I just have a stroke? What is wrong with me?
I literally gave you 99.8% of the name, and you were still like, "Hold on,
should I get an MRI?
You almost didn't need to hear the E at the end of
No,
Cage.
I needed you to say it, and then I would say Nicolas Cage.
And then I was like, wait a minute, is that not a name? And then I was questioning if Nicolas Cage wasn't even a person.
I think I have a problem with my memory. Wow.
Don't you write for a quiz show?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, you did have in the past, though.
Yeah, I worked in game shows.
You worked in game shows in the past, yes.
Yeah, my memory is shot.
And probably Nicolas Cage would not be one of the things you probably would have to do.
No. I don't think he's like, it's like
But I love how
Cardi
you-
B and Nick Jonas.
National Treasure, though, is a pretty deep, it's a deepish cut. So you knew
National
that.
Treasure is a deep cut.
It's not a deep cut, but Raising Arizona is like a
No,
pretty,
but
Leaving
those are
Las
his
Vegas.
most famous. Yeah. What are his most famous?
Yeah,
Face
Raising
Off?
Arizona. Face Off, exactly. Yeah, Con Air. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? This movie
Wow.
Mandy, which actually is really great that he's in. It's really almost has like an early '80s like heavy metal throwback. It's very
Wow.
visual. It's movie Mandy. It's really good. But he owned it. He bought it in 2007. I think he didn't for some whatever reason didn't even want his name on the lease. He knew probably. I think he knew it was like haunted.
Yeah.
I think for some reason he didn't even want his name attached to the lease for like. And I'm speculating, probably wrong, that he maybe he just for karmic reasons. I don't know. But he ended up, it went to bankruptcy in 2009 because, Nicolas Cage, had some.
Does he also have a dinosaur skull and like?
See, you know all this
Gutenberg
stuff.
Bible?
You know his social security number. You know his ATM pin, but you don't know his
I hope
name.
I'm not getting like early onset dementia.
I was like, here's what I was doing. I was like, Nicolas Cage. And you're like, Cage.
You're going to eat your words when you find out I have some fucking brain tumor.
No, I won't.
Fine. Nicolas Cage.